In all of this, we love the people of Russia. We care about the people of Russia who are suffering in immense ways today. It is difficult even to explain how they are living under such darkness, under such oppression, under such difficult circumstances where so many lies in Russian media today. It is impossible to even, if I would tell you, you would not believe me. War is peace. That's what is being said all the time on TV. And, a lot of people go into prisons and for just saying something wrong. And in this environment, we are ministering today together with FBH. So thank you so much for being with us. We have a little gift for you. But my wife is Ukrainian, so we don't just give gifts. Just like this. Ukrainians are known to be a little stingy, so you'll have to, not Oksana, but you usually have to work for the gift. So you would have to guess. By the way, this is me on the horse for the first time in my life, a couple of weeks ago, in one of those countries. You have to guess which country I was in. If you guess right, Oksana will give you a gift. Yeah, just raise your hand and guess. Choose. Who said? You said this? You said Moldova. Yeah, just give the gift to. Yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you so much. Of course, that's the wrong answer. And usually the way we do it, if you give us the right answer, we give you the gift. If you give us the wrong answer, we take something from you. Not today. Not today. No. Thank you so much. It was actually in Kyrgyzstan, so they told me it's okay to learn how to ride in the mountains. Apparently, that's the most dangerous thing you can do. But I'm okay, thank you. And they say the horse is also okay. But I'm bringing this just to let you see that we are serving not only in Russia, but in Russian language, and we are serving all these areas. And we have a lot of listeners in the stands, and there are several countries. Some of them are very close, and people listen to us online. And of course, some of them are fairly open, like Moldova, and people listen to us there, and Belarus, and all of those countries, not only Russia. We call it Eurasia because we don't want to say the former Soviet Union. We hope it's not coming back, so that's the reason. But in Russia alone, we have at least 12 million listeners, and this is amazing for us. In 2016, they closed down 2 stations that we had, and we had stations in Moscow and St. Petersburg, and we had the actual audience of 250,000 people, and that was such an achievement for us. We were so grateful to God for being able to be speaking to so many people. Today, 12 million people at least listen to us monthly. It is such a joy, because online, when you do broadcasting online, you see exactly how many people listen to us. And as we are broadcasting, we see how people respond, and we talk to them. Our volunteers respond to their responses as they say, oh, this program is interesting. And somebody who is a Christian, a volunteer, says, yeah, I like this program too. Let's talk about it. And they start talking, become friends, and before you know it, they invite somebody to a church. And that's how we do evangelism with this new media. Before we speak a little more about Russia, just let's listen to a very short video about what's going on.
In Russia, we are ministering in increasingly difficult circumstances. Dozens of opposition leaders are imprisoned. Hundreds of thousands have left the country. Millions are living in fear. Our goal is the same. We use media to inspire people to follow Jesus. Instead of one big channel, we are using multiple smaller ones, staying under the radar. We cannot share all our tactics publicly, but on the monthly basis, we are reaching more than 12 million listeners in Russia. Our broadcasters and counselors are talking to those who respond, leading many to Jesus. We also help them find a Christ-centered church.
And these 2 wonderful people are FBH people that are bringing the FBH programs on FEBC waves, on the FEBC resources that we have. One of them on top is Igor. And Igor lives in Moscow, very well educated, one of I don't know, he read more books than this section, including myself, just very well read, well educated, and at the same time he speaks with such simplicity and understanding, and people who are, especially people who are thinking and struggling and thinking about their souls, their faith, they listen to the program, and he is able to talk to them in such an amazing way, so that they respond. Vlad is also, he's pastoring church in St. Petersburg. He's much more lively. He's much more excitable. He's always excited about sharing Jesus with anybody. You walk with him, and before you know it, he's going to be talking about Christ with somebody else. So, and tonight I will just share a couple of stories of people who recently became Christians. And this is one of them. His name is Andrei. Special to me because he comes from the city of Staritsa in central Russia. That's where I spent 2 years in the Soviet army at the time. And I was a young Christian then, and no Christians in that city at all. I asked everybody. Finally, somebody said, we had this old guy who used to live here on this street, and he died 3 years ago. I was the only believer in that city as a soldier. And now there's a church there, and this gentleman is just using FBH programs. He loves FBH, loves what Igor does. And he's using the FBH programs to bring others to Christ. He was sharing one story recently. He was talking to one guy, and he was asking something, how people make jokes about somebody's faith. And they started to talk a little. And this guy was just kind of playing with him. Andrei said, no, I'm not going to tell you anything about Jesus. And he was thinking, what was going on? No, nothing about Jesus until you listen to this program. And he gave him FBH link. So the next day, the guy comes, says, this is amazing, just can you give me a Bible to read? And this is how a lot of our listeners are using FBH programs. And of course, direct evangelism is what's the most important kind of approach. As people listen, they respond and they become Christians. Boris is one of them. He lives in Moscow, a typical Muscovite, and functional kind of atheist. We don't have this official atheism now, but a lot of people are living their lives just like there is no God. And he started to listen to us, just visited church twice already. These are very, very fresh testimonies. And then he says, I'm so glad that I found you. Now I have something in my life that I never had before. I have the spiritual center, and I already found so many friends. So before you know it, he's going to be baptized, and he's going to be in church. This gentleman, his name is Yuri. He's from Minsk, Belarus. One of those people who live in different countries. Belarus is another country next to Russia. And he was one of the people, I don't know if you heard, in Belarus they had this uprising where hundreds of thousands of people came out on the streets to protest this little dictator that they have. And a lot of them went to prison. This guy did not go to prison. He's under home arrest right now. So he's staying under home arrest, and he did not know what to do with his time. So he started to listen to stuff online on the internet, and he found FBH programs from Moscow, and he just fell in love with it. And so he's constantly calling and typing and asking, and Igor has been kind of mentoring him. So recently he accepted Christ. He's not in church yet because he cannot go. He's under home arrest, but he's so excited to be a new Christian. So we have people like that. And Vlad, of course, as I said, he's always finding new ways to evangelize people. And one of the new ways he just mentions, if you want to receive a New Testament, just give me a call, and I'll give you a New Testament. We'll meet somewhere in the city, and I'll give you the New Testament. And he does. And there's a couple hundred people at least who received New Testament from Vlad. So he just meets with people, and of course when he greets them, he talks to them. He makes a contact, and he becomes their friend, and he has this gift, the New Testament. So he's not heavy on the first meeting, but then people start asking questions as they read the New Testament, and this is just a few seconds of the video, how he does it. So many people became believers through this simple kind of exercise. And what Vlad is doing, he's talking to people all the time. And he's willing to have these long conversations with people. You know, somebody writes and he writes back to them, text, or sometimes he calls on the phone. And that person thinks about it, and then, you know, a month later he writes again, and Vlad is there to answer. So this is one of these guys. He's from Siberia, from the city of Omsk, and he was kind of talking to Vlad a lot, and he almost became a Christian, but wasn't quite ready to make the decision. And then this war started, and he didn't want to go to the army, so he ran to Turkey, and he was in Turkey with his wife, and he was still talking to Vlad, and Vlad found a church there in Turkey, so he went there and gave his life to Christ. And he was like, "Vlad, why didn't I do this before? This is so wonderful to be with Jesus, so wonderful to be a Christian, so wonderful to have these brothers and sisters." He says, I have one problem now. My wife has not made the decision to follow Christ. So they were praying together, and just a couple of weeks ago, I think, his wife accepted Christ. So, and they were baptized. And this is what God is doing in Russia today, despite all the difficulties, despite all the darkness, and the Word of God is being proclaimed. So what is ahead? We will have more. We are planning to have more of those one-on-one meetings that are so effective in leading people to Christ. And we already started producing short videos that reach millions of people. So we'll be doing, both Vlad and Igor will be doing those videos for TikTok, for those social networks where people can get the first glimpse of what Christianity is, and then start the conversation as well. And we are also planning to have more church connections to make sure when people become Christians, so they can go to a church and the church will accept them. The church will embrace them, and this is very important. Doesn't always happen, unfortunately. Churches need to be trained as well. So that's where we are in Russia. We'll talk a little bit more about Ukraine a little later. Thank you so much.